car.
Oh,
I have two of them, but I'm not allowed to open them or talk about them or anything.
oh. Are you supposed to like?
I got it.
Oh, you should probably stop streaming and start over.
Oh yeah, start over. Sorry.
You guys are now live.
Whoops. We're not live yet.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, we're live now.
Oh, we are.
Yeah,
Now we're live.
yeah, we're
Were we
live.
live a minute ago?
Yeah, pretty much right when you started talking.
No.
God damn it. I can edit
Uh.
that out later. It's fine.
Okay. Whoops.
Whoops. Um, what was I doing? Oh, I'm super bummed out. It's 80 degrees today. It's really nice out, and I hopped on my scooter at 5 o'clock to ride down here, and my battery was dead.
No.
Dude.
Devastation.
Yeah, I tried charging it really quick, but and I put it back in, and it turned over for a second, and then it died again. So
Oh.
it sucks because what happened was a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you remember or not, but I left my ignition on, and my turn signal was on, and so it drained the battery all the way down. And then I
Yeah.
charged it back up. Well, then I haven't ridden it in a week because it's been so cold, and plus I've been out of town, so probably 2 weeks now. And yeah, so I was pretty butthurt that I couldn't ride it today because I can't ride it tomorrow because I got to take stuff to the track, so I got to use my truck, and then it's supposed to get cold again on Wednesday. So
Yeah.
the days of saving money on gas might be over for a little bit.
I think so. I think you're right.
I think I'm just gonna stay at home, and we might try to. I might try to stream from home too.
Okay.
So they're gonna pump me in instead of driving all the way down here. They're gonna pump me in via the interweb.
Oh, didn't we do that during COVID?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
So yeah, it'll work. It'll be fine. I'll just be downstairs. I'll have my headphones on and everything. Pretty a lot to talk about. Unfortunately, you weren't there for any of it.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm gonna get back to club racing again. I was gonna try to club race this weekend, but I don't know what I have going on. I worked all last weekend.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't have liked. Honestly, the track was pretty rough.
Oh
Friday.
yeah.
Friday, I did water it in between round 1 and 2, and it got a lot better just from splashing some water on it.
Yeah.
But Sunday, during the enduro, I mean, it was the same track for all 5 teams, so I wasn't really that worried about it. But boy, this track's getting rough. So it's about due. Which, in fact, next Sunday, I start work on the track. So
Nice.
the dirt track will be closed all next Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I got to update that in the calendars. So, yeah, we'll get to that here in a minute. First off, hey, this is Alex Sturgeon with the Hobbytown HobbyPlex, and with me as always.
Will Brenton.
And we're here to talk about a lot of stuff. I want to talk about the Hoosier race since we had last Monday off, and then I want to talk about what went down this weekend. Whole bunch of stuff. Friday racing, Saturday was supposed to be racing, but apparently nobody got the memo. And then Sunday we had the enduro. My stepdad died on Friday. I had my 25th high school reunion on Saturday, and then I had to wake up and race on Sunday for the enduro.
Nice.
So first off, did you? I mean, I know you know some of the results, but did you manage to catch any races on anything when we were at Hoosier?
Yeah, I did. I
Yeah.
watched your races. I saw uh some of the lower mains. I saw the truck main. What else did I watch? I watched quite a bit of it actually. I think I even caught A3 of two wheel.
Yeah, that was a good one. Actually, out of all the videos that I've taken and posted just using my phone from that weekend, I think the A3 of two wheel was, or was it four wheel? I think it was two wheel. I think A3 of two wheel is probably the one that's got the most views because that one had the sweet jump pass by Mayfield, and then the get back from Dakota.
Yeah, I didn't know who was gonna win that one.
Dude, that was crazy to watch. I was supposed to marshal that race too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I was like, I need to video this race. So I had one of the boys come over.
Yeah.
I think Dalton marshaled in my stead.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was pretty happy about that. I got a lot of videos. So the videos I took with I had a plan going in. I was going to take some video with my phone that I could get up each night, and that's what I did. And then I have a lot of footage to go over. I haven't even looked at it yet. Like, you know how long it took me to get the adrenaline race video up was like a month? Because I needed to build up the ambition to get all that in there. Well, I'm doing the same thing. There's so much video I took. And I'm trying to like create a story. And I want to do a voiceover for this one.
Ooh.
I've never done a voiceover before, so I'm going to try to do a voiceover. So,
like some narration.
Yeah, kind of. Yep. Anthony's dad took some drone footage and sent it to me. I thought that was pretty rad.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Just it's going to be good when I get it done. I'm going to try to tell a story. Pretty much from the kids. I made a point to kind of get some of the kids as qualifiers and talk to the kids. Maybe, and I talked to their parents or their guardians that were there as well. And should be good. Just got to give me a little bit of time. I gotta almost got to write a script and storyboard it out almost. So that's gonna take a little while.
Yeah.
So I think it was 4-wheel drive. It was the 4-wheel drive mod A3 because Dakota won the first two in 2-wheel drive, and it was the 4-wheel drive A3 that had to go to a third to figure it out because I think Dakota messed up in the first one.
Yeah.
So it was like 3 people could have won it. Mayfield was trying. I mean, he drove his butt off in that race. But it's just so crazy to see from the angle I was at that he made that pass, but then there was this jump that came right at sort of the driver's stand, and you were trying to jump basically to the corner was the fast way to do it. But the jump over the course of the week had gotten a little wonky in a couple spots. And like my 2-wheel drive main, where I stepped on my dick for the first 2 minutes, I hit weird spots on that for like the first 3 laps, and it was throwing my car all over the place. And I think what happened was he hit one of those spots and he ended up just going, he landed where he needed to, but he landed wide. And Dakota landed where he was supposed to. And that's all it took for Dakota to get the spot back. He had the inside line. And then they went side by side over the big jump and landed. And then he rolled over. And I think there was a little bit of contact, but I didn't see it. But Ryan, even in his thing, he's like, I was on the outside, so that's on me. But that was good stuff. That was the mod A mains were exactly what I thought they would be. Because you had all these, like you had more top guys there than you had at Nationals. So like even the C main of 2-wheel mod had some pretty fast people in it. And then the B main was crazy. Just some of the names off the top of my head, like Joe Bornhorst, Spencer Rivkin, Alex Vanderbeek were in that B main. Tyler Jones, I think, was in it. Yeah, dude, that Alex Vanderbeek, Spencer Rivkin race. I mean, the place went nuts. I feel really bad for Alex, but because Alex did almost everything he needed to do to win that. They were all doing this triple. I tried it in practice with my 40 plus mod car, and I could do this jump. The safe line would be tabletop double, and all the pros were going triple single into the corner, and it was clearly faster. Not by much, but it definitely was. If everybody else was doing it, you kind of had to do it. And Alex was just banging off those in the first part of that B main once he got the lead. And I was like, dude, like he's going to win this one. Spencer was definitely coming. He would make up some time on him here and there. And then Spencer, a couple laps before, did the tabletop double, and Alex tripled it. Well, then Alex saw that. So the next lap, Alex did the tabletop double. Spencer did the tabletop double. And I was thinking to myself, okay, last lap, you got to do the triple. You have to. And Alex did the triple, and when he landed it and turned it and cleared it, I'm like, that's it. he has this. He totally has this. But the other end of the track had the same sort of thing going on as that jump that I was just describing in that 4-wheel drive race with between Dakota and Ryan, where there were spots on that it would throw your car. That's what happened to me in my 2-wheel drive 40 plus mod A main. I was in second, and I was feeling pretty good. I blocked Allen in the first triple double, because at the start, third place had a clear line to basically hole shot second place. And I was in that second spot. And so I hammered it. I never let off the throttle. And I was able to stay in that second position. I come up to this second roller after that front jump section, and it was a bunch of 180s back and forth. And my car just hit something, and it just tumbled. And I lost like 4 spots. Drove around in 5th, got back to 3rd, slow rolled it. Well, here in that main between Alex and Spencer, Alex just barely bobbled, just a little bit, and it allowed Spencer to get a little closer to him. And then coming off of that straightaway, it was so hairy. If you were too far to the inside, there were these bumps that would catch you, and you could crash, you could flip, or you could have a problem. Emerson had a problem in his buggy qualifier, his last one. He was on a really good run, and then he just was too far to the inside, and this bump threw him into the face of that triple, and he crashed and lost a bunch of time. He went from like maybe a top 15 to like a top 30. I mean, it was crazy. So you had to stay away from it, but Alex just a little too wide, and that allowed Spencer to get underneath of him and kind of outpower him to the line. So they finished 0.3 of a second apart. That was one of the highlights of the lower mains. Just watching the pros and stuff. But the A mains were exactly what I thought they'd be. They were pretty crazy. Although I will say that there was pretty clear definition from Dakota, Ryan, Ty to everybody else at this one. I mean, it was clear in both 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive that it would probably come down to those two. Yeah. Those three. Mm-hmm. And I would say that maybe that's a preview for the Worlds coming up, but then I don't know. I guess the Worlds are at Hobby Action.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So I saw Larry Tom posted that on Facebook. It looks like that's there, although I haven't seen an official announcement from IFMAR or Roar about that, though.
Yeah, right.
But still, you would hope that that's legit, and we're going there in December. And I think next year I'm going to take that week off, and I'm going to go down there and try to be like a press person. Yeah. I think I'm going to do that for real.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking, because I thought they'd maybe be at Beach or Coastal or whatever that is, the big carpet track in Florida. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking to myself, well, I could do that too, because it'd probably be in September. That's what it sounds like. So I'm going to schedule the Summer Series finals around that. I'm not going to schedule the Summer Series on the finals, or the finals on the Worlds, because I want to go do that. So we'll see how that goes. The kids did good. I think each one of the 4 didn't make the A in 2-wheel, and one of the 4 didn't make the A in 4-wheel. But they all had kind of this really good experience. Mm-hmm. It was really cool to see. Let me get in here. Freaking Bender won independent 4-wheel drive, which was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get to that here. So independent, let's start with, I just want to go over who made the A and what. So I think we can't leave out some of these other guys too. So Mini Truggy, Emerson and I are kicking ourselves for not bringing Mini Truggies with us.
Yeah, I bet.
Because
I thought you were planning on it.
we did, but we were going to borrow them, but then they said that the race was closed. So I didn't want to be that dude that shows up and it's just like, hey man, I want to get into I didn't want to be that guy. So we didn't even bother with borrowing them, or anything like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
However, that being said, you had Fasty and Tyler Fleming both made the main. David finished 9th and Tyler finished 11th. But I will say that from now on, both Emerson and I will probably have Mini Truggy by Christmas time.
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen again. So if there's a Mini Truggy class offered, that's going to be like our bonus class.
Right.
Because I only raced 2 classes, so a third class wouldn't hurt, especially at a big race like this. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was getting kind of bored there on main day, waiting for my mains to come. And it's no fun sitting there. Like when I used to make nitro mains, A mains, and you're the last main, and you hope to sleep in, but then after that, you got to sit there and watch all these lower mains. I mean, I was trying to find stuff to do. I always try to find to be a pit guy or whatever.
Yeah.
That was a struggle.
Yeah, I bet.
All right, independent 2-wheel drive had Andrew Thomas placed the highest out of the 4 boys with Dalton Conrad behind him. Now, Dalton, I think he bumped up. I think.
Yeah, I think he did too.
So
I think I watched his race.
So he went from 10th to 4th. Andrew qualified 3rd, finished 3rd. So they two, both of them did really good. TJ finished 6th. And Bender finished 5th. So that's pretty cool. Andrew, Dalton, Daniel, and TJ. So they all made the main. I think Dalton was the one that got the bump up to make it, to get all 4 of the boys in the main for independent. So that was pretty rad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They all finished 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So that was pretty cool. You could tell, I could tell that I think a lot of these guys had some nerves that they had to get over because they weren't driving with their normal like confidence. That you could see on the track. I think they were pretty nervous. I mean, I would be too if it was my first big race. I remember my first big race, the 96 regionals, 95 regionals, 95 regionals. I was a nervous wreck, dude. Nervous wreck. Then stadium truck, and this sucked. So Emerson qualified 3rd. He had a 2nd in round 1 and a 3rd in round 2. He broke in round 3. He busted a front turnbuckle, a front shock, and something. I mean, he basically hit the pole. They had that pole after the triple double. He hit that really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And we fixed everything. We put all new stuff on it. I put new ball cups on. And he goes out there in this race, and he ran it to Dominic, I believe on the 2nd lap after the triple. And he waited, which was I'm proud of it. Emerson's so not like me. I would have just went, but Emerson waited, and then he got stuck back in a whole big pile of trucks, and then he crashed a bunch. And he what finally did it in was he hit the wall at the end of the triple double, and he popped off a ball tie rod, and not just popped one off. He popped both off. And we never found it.
Oh, really?
So he was pretty devastated. And, I could tell that maybe nerves were getting to him, too, because we were sitting there in the pits trying to take our mind off things. I brought my PlayStation with my TV, and I was trying to keep our minds off of everything, but I could tell that he really wanted to do well in that one. And he came off the stand. He looked pretty devastated. And to be honest with you, I was probably more upset than he was.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had these... So around this track, they built these wood like covers that went over the concrete that holds the track in front, and they're hollow. So during the race, instead of clapping, people would be tapping those with their hands. And it was loud. It was really loud. Well, of course, me, I go over and I get his car and I'm walking back to the pits and I hammer fist one of those things. And like the whole place shook. I didn't realize it was that loud until I think Postlewaite told me after the race that I need to control myself. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I was pretty embarrassed. Because I look up to him and I looked up to Brennan and I like those guys a lot. So I didn't want to be that guy, but apparently I was that guy. So there you go. I just don't like seeing my son fail. That's all. He rarely ever fails at anything. The thing about Emerson is that when he really wants to do something, he does it. Like he finds a way to do it. He wanted to learn how to play drums. And he plays drums. He wanted to get a black belt in karate. He got his black belt in karate. He wanted to learn how to take apart his motorcycle's engine and carburetor.
Mm-hmm.
Now he knows how to take apart an engine and a carburetor. Like it's just he does it. And when I know that he wanted this one bad, and he didn't get there. So we learned. So we revamped his truck a little bit. We're gonna work on it during on Wednesdays after hours too.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna get it back to going good again, and hopefully we do good at Hobby Action, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then go up here to the independent 4-wheel drive. So Bender, this is so cool. From the 7th position, Daniel won the Indy A main in 4-wheel.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the thing is Daniel had, all 4 of the boys had really good cars from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't change a thing on my car from home. Not a thing. All I did was work on tires. Got the stiffeners in them, used a black foam, and when I started doing that, that set of tires worked really well, and then I'm like, okay, now I know what I need to do. Same. I think it was the same way with these guys. Their stuff was working really good from the get-go. So, a lot of it was just driving and just nerves. And I could tell Daniel in particular was really nervous at the start of the weekend. He was overshooting corners and he was using a lot of brake when he shouldn't have, and that sort of thing. So he definitely calmed down to qualify better. And then in the main, I mean, honestly, he looked lights out. He looked very determined in the main. And in fact, he got kind of taken out at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And he maybe aimed for the person that took him out.
That's funny.
I was like, whoa, dude. And then he was off to the races again. Like it was great. So I don't know. That triple at the start though, man, if poor, who was it that broke right away? I think Dalton broke at the triple opening lap.
Oh, really?
Yes, because if you're coming in there and you have to go for it. Like Emerson, his buggy C main, Emerson decided not to go for it. He double singled it, and he was the cause of a little bit of carnage at the start because everybody saw it and was jumping over the top of him. And Emerson almost got through that, but the cars behind him just plastered him into the wall after that section, and he ended up dead last. And I told him afterwards, I'm like, dude, don't do that in your truck main. Like whatever you do, jump that jump at the start of your truck main, because if you don't, it's going to be over at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Emerson came back to get second in that main, by the way, which I told him afterwards, I'm like, if you would have just jumped that triple and stayed at the top instead of falling all the way back, you could have won that race,
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, back to what I was saying. There was some carnage at the start of this one and at that triple, and it claimed Dalton Conrad right away. So that kind of sucked because Dalton qualified 5th. Where's the other one at? Andrew Thomas qualified 2nd. I believe that he missed the triple, if I'm watching it right. I think he came around, went a little wide, ended up running into that wood wall that I hammer fisted earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what started some of that. So he ended up 8th. And then it was TJ that didn't make the main. He had a really good car and just could not get lucky. Kind of like Emerson. Like his he broke twice in 4-wheel drive while on TQ paces.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
I know. And then in the main, I think the same thing happened. Like he was leading, and then some crazy, weird crashes happened. Then I think his car busted. I think. I'm pretty sure.
That's no good.
But oh well. I mean, you live and you learn. You know. But again, all 4 of them did really good. I'm going to focus some of my video on those, not just me and Emerson, but on those 4 as well. Just real quick, Rennernecht did really good. He TQ'd expert stock, but I think he finished second to Davey Botta. And then he made the main in mod 2-wheel. I think he qualified 4th, and he kind of finished mid-pack, if I'm not mistaken. Go up here to mod buggy AAA results. So where's he at? He finished 8th. You know. Let's see. Who am I forgetting? Short course. Mac Vanderbeek, I believe, is your TQ.
Mm-hmm.
And finished 3rd.
Yeah, at the beginning of that short course main, the guy that was announcing was like, "All right, everybody, just go like double, single, or whatever, or just double it so we don't cause a huge crash."
Over the triple?
Yeah.
Yeah. Watching those things hit that, they had a huge turnout of short course. They had like 3 heats. It's the most heats of short course I've seen in years. It was 2015 again.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw Mac. I watched one of Mac's qualifiers, and every time he came over that triple, that truck of his would be like, oh, and then he'd land it. Like total kite effect. Everybody.
Yeah.
So if you try to go big on any jump, it was, oh man, those things look like such crazy things to drive. Brett Nelson, he was there from KC.
Yeah.
I tried to get all those guys kind of pitted in the same area, the HobbyPlex crew.
Mm-hmm.
So podium for Mac, and then 40 plus. Just talk about my main real fast. So the whole reason why I went to this race is because of what happened at our race with me getting 5th. I felt like I should have at least had 3rd, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my goal was to do better than that. And there was almost 40 plus people here at this one. There was a lot of fast names, and most of the fast names that I thought would be up there in the main were in the main. So Paul Ciccarello TQ'd the first round. I qualified 2nd. And then in the second round, Paul and I finished like tenths of seconds apart. I had it. I had the lead with like 2 laps left to go. And then I slipped up a little bit on those 180s and slowed down just enough for Paul to get the lead back. And then I tried to get it back on the last lap, but I came up just a little bit short. So Paul had the TQ, and I was 2nd. And I was sure I was going to be 2nd no matter what. Well, then the 3rd qualifier comes around, and I believe Alan got a 0. And then I was actually in a battle for the TQ in the last one too. And unfortunately, I wrecked with like 3 laps left to go, and I ended up like 4th for the round or something. But because of the Roar tiebreaker, I still ended up 2nd. So I got away with one there. If they would have done IFMAR, Alan would have been 2nd. But Jake Concepts, Jason has always been, well, we got to use Roar rules for this race. So they were doing Roar everything. They actually didn't have it that way at first. And I wasn't going to say anything because I was like, well, okay, fine, whatever. And then I saw it, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm back up in a 2nd. And here's the thing. I was thinking long term. I was like, okay, well, Paul hasn't been to any of the INS races that I'm aware of. So now he's just taking a TQ off the board. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I'm actually okay with that. I just have to beat these two. I was thinking Alan and Brian. I just got to finish in front of these two at this race, and I'm back in the game. Like, fifth, the race at our place doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
So the race started, and I was in pretty good position, man. I held on to that second spot, and then I hit that spot, and I crashed really hard, and I was rolling around in fifth, and then I was rolling back up to third, then I crashed again, I was back to fifth, and then I kind of settled in. So the first 2 minutes of this race, I would love to have back. Yeah. Because I crashed. I mean, like I said, it was just me stepping on my dick the whole time. And there was a point where I was catching back up, and Alan and Brian had gotten together again, just like in Omaha. They had gotten together, and they were stuck on the pipe. And it was at that jump that was coming right at you, and then you turned for the big jump in front, right? Mm-hmm. And I see this, and I'm like, oh my God, this is it. I can get around both these two in one turn. So I see it, and I make sure that I'm more than wide enough, but not in the fluffy stuff. I put my car right where it needed to be to turn and make the tabletop as they were getting marshaled. And whoever was marshaling these two decided to take Brian Dunbar's car and literally plop it down in front of my car. So I run as I'm going up to the face of this tabletop. He turns and puts Brian down right in front of me. So I run into Brian, and I get his wing. So now we're stuck together. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And Alan is just gone. He's like, well, see ya. And he's off in second place. So that sucked, because I was like, here we go again. I did everything I needed to do. Even though I had a horrible start, I still had a shot to get second in this one and finish ahead of both these dudes that I need to finish in front of for the overall points thing. And that happened. And then Brian and I had a really good race, and Emerson had passed somebody in his C main in the same spot that Mayfield passed Dakota. Mm-hmm. And a couple laps into following Brian and looking for a way around, that was the spot. So that jump, if you were on the left side of the jump, it would float you up slowly, right? And if you were on the inside part of the jump, it would shoot you forward quickly. But you had to be careful, because you could hit the pipe, because it kind of threw you a weird way. So I went for the inside because I knew that I could get to that corner before he did if he was over here. And that's exactly what happened. Well, he saw it. I think Brian saw it, and he went to block, and he ended up bouncing off the pipe and tumbling, and I went around and stayed in third the rest of the way.
Yeah.
So still got third. Mac Vanderbeek got fourth. And, dude, I kid you not, the tone rang, and Mac and I had both gotten the lap, and he was only the front jump section behind me at that point, and he was coming. Mac was pretty fast at this race too. He just had some shitty qualifying. I crashed at that stupid at-you jump that I was talking about with Mayfield. I crashed there, and if the marshal hadn't, probably the same marshal, he totally redeemed himself, because he quickly got me going again. But if it was the end of the race, so if anybody wasn't paying attention, I could have just sat there, and Mac would have driven by me and gotten third instead. So I got super lucky. Really, really lucky. Yeah. Like super lucky there. So I don't know. That main was kind of a mess, to be honest with you. For me, it was a mess. It wasn't a mess for Paul. Paul just was like, well, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm going to drive away. Mm-hmm. So it was Paul Ciccarello, Alan Horn, me. Mac got fourth. Brian got fifth. Michael Mallet was sixth. Brad Hausch. Chris Dosick. It was cool. I was standing next to Chris Dosick, and I was like, hey, dude, it's really cool being up here with you, because he's like a former 12-scale world champ. Mm-hmm. And I've seen it at some on-road races too. Craig O'Brien from Trackside was 9th, Bradley Irvin, and then Brian Yeager was 11th. So, oh well. I mean, I got one out of the two, right? That's all you can really do. So now, it all comes down to hobby action. Mm-hmm. And then, dude, I made the A in 13.5 Wheeler. That was my other goal for the weekend, was to make the A in Wheeler and get better points than I did at home in 40 plus. And I finished 10th. So that's kind of where I was all weekend. I think the highest I qualified was 9th, and the lowest I qualified was 11th. and I finished 10th overall. So I was really happy with that. My B main was a banger, dude. You know how I've driven lights out a few times this year in 13.5 wheeler at home at the summer series, right? And made no mistakes at all for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how I drove. I wish I could have driven my 40 plus race like that, because in the B main, I drove lights out.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little shaky at the start, but after that first lap, dude, that car was, my 4-wheel drive was so good. I need more speed, like just more outright speed, you know? And I started the weekend like 4 teeth under geared.
Oh, really?
I started out with a 23 tooth pinion gear, and I moved it up to a 27 on qualifying day.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked up a full second. But I still felt slow. And you know when I really felt it was the resort. So I like I said, I qualified 9th the first round. And so I was in the A main resort, and Sammy Moran and Brennan Schimmel, they would pull 2 feet from me every corner off the 180s. That's when I knew. I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on, but I'm slow.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't crash a lot. So I ended up where I ended up there. I wish you were there.
Yeah, me too.
You would have liked it. You would have really liked it.
I'm sure.
So we'll see what happens next year. When theirs is and when ours is, if it works out. We might be able to switch it out. We might be able to do both INSs. It's really not that bad of a drive, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought it was gonna 10 hours. I thought it was gonna feel like a really long time, but it's not. It's really easy. You just go to St. Louis and then you go to Louisville. Like it's just that and then that.
Yeah.
And you're there. The drive back was even easier. So.
Yeah, I'd probably go.
And the place is really cool. I mean, it's an old Kroger. It's what I thought it was. I figured it would be like an old grocery store or something like that, and that's exactly what it was. Huh. They have so much room. Like they've got the the main track, which they actually extended this year. Then they have the main set of pit spots behind it. Then they have their little dirt oval, which is pretty cool. And then they've got a whole nother part of the building that's more pit space. And then it looks like they took over a bay, like right next to them. Mm-hmm. And knocked in a door and everything, and it's next to the hobby store. And they've got, dude, they could hold easily a couple hundred people there for pit spots if they really had to.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
And the shop was neat. The shop had an OGIO bag. I finally got an OGIO bag.
Ooh. Yeah, you texted me that. Yeah, the red one?
Yeah, I talked my wife into it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the deal. So December birthday, right? So usually my Christmas presents and birthday presents are always one thing. They're always like, oh, I got you this for your birthday and Christmas. And I'm always like, oh, great. Thanks. Yeah, by the way, you guys had sex and then had my sister in August. So she gets a birthday present and then she gets a Christmas present. So screw you guys. So, but I'm not bitter about it at all. So, but in this case, I was like, okay, here's the deal. Gretchen, I'm like, how about you and Margie like conspire together to give me this OGIO bag for my birthday and Christmas because I wanted it that bad. So I got it. So I was happy.
There you go.
So, yes. But yeah, their shop kind of reminded me of more like a pro shop. Like they had Traxxas and Arma, but it wasn't as heavily invested into the not race stuff. They had a lot more race stuff than we do.
Yeah.
So hobby action, dude. On to hobby action. So I tallied it up. If I'm doing the points right, the way that they're doing the points, you have a 2-point lead in Stadium Truck.
Yeah. That'll be cool.
And I'm behind by 1 point, and I'm tied with Alan Horn.
Mm-hmm.
In 40 plus. And Brian Dunbar, I think, said he wasn't going to go. So, and I know Alan is. And then I'm sure Brent Thelke will be there, and he's always really good at that class. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes down.
Yeah, no, it'll be cool.
I'm going to talk about this weekend at all. What'd you do this weekend?
I worked.
You just worked, right?
Yeah.
get like a whole bunch of cool hours because you need it because you gotta pay for the trip the same way that I do.
Yeah, pretty much.
No racing. Did you work on anything?
My cars?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I'm taking care of my grandma this week too,
Oh.
because my dad's out of town. So it's like I pretty much like go to work all day and then go to grandma's and hang out with her and then come home for a little while, then go back, make her dinner, make sure she takes her evening pills, and then come home. So I was busy all weekend.
Yeah. I didn't look at my stuff for like a week and a half after
Yeah.
coming back. I rolled that OGO bag downstairs and never even looked at it until I think Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And Saturday I took the electronics out of the 2-wheel drive and put it in the 4-wheel drive. I'm sorry. Put it in the dirt car. Took it out of the dirt car, put it in the carpet car, and drove carpet on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta tell you, dude, it was kind of nice running on carpet.
Oh yeah.
So the track layout was weird, and I'm gonna tell everybody why, because like I said, I don't really keep anything secret or anything like that. But so my stepdad had a heart attack, I believe September 8th, and then my side of the family, didn't really know anything about it until the Monday before we left for Hoosier.
Mm-hmm.
And because they didn't think it was that important, because he had a heart attack, but it wasn't like he died on the table type heart attack. He just had a blockage. So they went in there and they fixed the blockage, and he was home like 3 days later.
Mm-hmm.
And that's happened before. I remember he had a heart attack in his 50s when he was dating my mom. So we didn't really think anything of it. Well, he wasn't feeling very well, and he got sent back in, and they had to do emergency surgery on him. Well, then he had a whole bunch of other problems that were going on, and he had basically been on a respirator ever since. And so I kind of knew that, actually, going to Hoosier while I was traveling to Hoosier. Gretchen told me on Friday, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to tell Emerson anything because I don't want him to even think about it, because it's kind of a different situation. So my stepdad had been my stepdad since 1996, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was, 16, 17. So, I still have my real dad, obviously, is still alive. And, we talk and all that stuff. He just lives 2 hours away, So Chip was kind of not necessarily a surrogate father, but he was the man in my life for the remaining years that I was at home, which was like 4 years, right?
Right. Yeah,
But for Emerson, Emerson's grandpa on my wife's side passed away in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to tell Emerson that, and he was not quite old enough to figure it out. He was. He was like 6. So that was a crusher. So I didn't want to tell him that the only other grandpa he's ever known is like, probably not going to survive. So especially at a race like this, I was just like, I'll just hold off. So I was keeping that in all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get home, and I finally got a chance to go up there and see him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like he doesn't look very good. He was unresponsive, had a tube and all that stuff, and so a respirator. And Friday, I just went up there to see him, to stop by, because I knew I was going to have a busy weekend. So I just went up there to basically check in with Mary Ellen, which is his current wife. And found out that they were going to pull the plug like a half hour later. And I'm like, what? Like you mean like now? And like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So my plan was to go to the, stop by there and then just go to the store. I was going to rearrange the track, make the lanes a little bit longer, make it a little bit more off-road friendly instead of on-road. The on-road guys love their, twisty back and forth stuff. Off-road guys, we like to have jumps and long lanes and stuff so we can land and pass and all that. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that. So that happened, and then I had to go to work. So I tried to set up the carpet track as best I could, and then run races Friday. And then Saturday, we walked in there, and really the only people that showed up to run were Joe and Alex Vanderbeek. Alex took the time all day to get his stuff running. I finally got my stuff running. My new car works really good, actually.
Yeah.
It works really good. So I'm pretty excited. But the track layout's not really the greatest off-road layout ever, but it will be a pretty awesome mini layout tomorrow night. So we just left it up because we didn't have anything going on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So that layout's still there. So it'll be there tomorrow, and then tomorrow I'll have Emerson and me and whoever's left to put all the stuff away. So
nice.
But that's what happened, and hopefully my post didn't deter anybody from coming and trying to race on Saturday.
Yeah,
Because it's not what I was trying to imply. I just wanted to warn everybody that wasn't going to be the most off-roady layout of all time. I only had room for one jump, really. So
yeah, right.
But death sucks.
Yeah.
Like I missed my mom by like a half hour, and so I kind of felt obligated to be there too. So I don't know. Not something I wanted to ever see every day again. I really hope I get eaten by a bear or something like that, or get pushed off a cliff. Maybe pushed off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of dying in a hospital bed. I don't know. I wouldn't want to drown. Would you want to drown? That seems like torture to me.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't really want to drown.
Actually, eaten by a bear probably sounds like torture too, unless they eats my face first. Then I got nothing up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah. That sounds horrific. I think I've seen pictures of people eaten by bears, and I'm like, oh, no, thank you.
Yeah.
That sounds like a horrible, horrible day. So we had racing Friday night. Just real quick, I want to give a shout out to some of these guys because it was a fun turnout. We raced Stock Slash again, dude. Stock Slash is got to be the funnest part of my weekend because we don't care. Nobody cares, especially this Friday. Nobody cared. Even on the last lap, nobody cared. It was so fun.
Yeah.
We just run into each other like as hard as we can. It was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Results from past events. So there's Friday. What is this thing doing? There it is. Friday, 35 entries, 23 people. Just real quick, we had Plex Spec. We ended up putting all 11 Plexers in the main. Cody Berwick took the win. He's got a 3S Typhon. That works pretty good. And then Michael Hall was second, and Alex Eichler was TQ, but he finished third. The first round, two-wheel drive buggies weren't doing very good. I watered the track. Alex TQ'd by almost a lap, so the track definitely came around. Joel Calvin was there racing dirt. He's a Tuesday nighter. Will Fenton was there again. Will's pretty consistent. It's cool having him there. Tanner Hall was sixth. Colson Chadwell was seventh. Steve Eichler, Jason Norris, Nick Patrick, and Silas was 11th, but I think he broke a little early. So, yeah. Let's see. PlexSpec is only a 2S, but you can still run a 3S car.
Yeah.
So Cody Berwick is running a 2-cell in that Typhon. Otherwise, that thing would be unmanageable with a 3-cell in it.
Yeah, I don't know how.
That would be.
You could drive something like that.
Yeah. We had a 4-wheel drive class. Steve Wall with the win. Corey Clubundy with the second. Nick Patrick was third. Joel Calvin was fourth. Again, Joel running on the dirt with a 4-wheel drive. Anthony Santee with the 2-wheel drive win. Steve Wall was second. Alex Eichler was third. Steve Eichler was fourth. Emerson qualified with his truck, but then he went and hung out with his friends because it's Friday night. So that's pretty fun. I'm glad he's going to do that. We had some e-buggies and some e-truggies. So John Haas, Dane Gangler, Dylan Haas was your finish in e-buggy. And then an e-truggy. Oh, crap. It didn't save the main because I probably didn't finish the race before it happened. Shoot. But Logan Prismanis stomped everybody.
Nice.
I do remember that. I'm pretty sure Dane got second. I think. But yeah, Logan was on it. And he's running an old body. And he's like, I want to run an old body. He doesn't want to run the new body. And then in slash spec, not that it matters, but Steve Wall, Anthony Santee, me, Corey Klabundi, and then Emerson. Emerson's transponder must not have been. Oh, he wasn't there for the main. What am I saying? So again, it's like that. I heard somebody say where the games are made up and the points don't matter. That's kind of what stock slash is, because we just spent all 5 minutes basically just waiting and hammering each other the whole time. So it was pretty awesome. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoy it. I broke my truck for the first time.
Oh, nice.
I broke a rear hub. That's the first. We've been racing stock slash all summer, and that's the first time I've actually broken it.
Yeah.
So, did you know that stock slash is being offered at the January Jam or the January ProTech, whatever it is, at Fastlane?
Oh, really?
Yeah, January.
Are you gonna race it?
Oh yeah, I'm totally bringing my slash. That's gonna be my third class down there for that one.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm totally bringing it. But I'm not going to treat it like we do up here, because I'm sure there's some people that take slash super serious.
Yeah, actually try to make laps, not hit people.
And then let's talk about the Enduro, so I don't bore you to death here. We'll get into the chat here in a minute. The Enduro, boy, the Enduro's hard.
Yeah, I know.
It's so hard. Like, every year I build myself up for this Enduro to do really well, and then every year something totally stupid happens to my team, to my team's car. And Emerson's pretty upset with me. So our team was me, Emerson, Daniel Bender, and Alex Vanderbeek. And Emerson had to work at noon. So the plan was to have Emerson drive pretty much all the morning when we start at 9. And then from then on, it was going to be the three of us kind of alternating. And after 100 laps, we were tied. There was 3 teams that were tied. And it was Team Centon with Eric Jarman, Trevor Moss, Cody. Oh gosh. It was Chris Haida and Cody Haida. So it was those 4, and then the Magic Men was Riley Filbert, T.J. Williams, Andrew Thomas, and Dalton Conrad. And the 4 of us were tied at 100 laps. Right about the 100 lap mark, our car started acting really weird and was really hard to drive. And I started getting pissed at Emerson. I'm like, what is going on? Because he kept wrecking in the same spot like 4 laps in a row. I'm like, what are you doing? And he screamed down. He's like, dude, the car's acting really weird. It's doing it on its own. So we bring it in, and the left rear tire was like locked up. And I finally kind of looked at it, and a bearing, just a bearing, an inside bearing, 10 by 15 bearing had blown out, and it was causing a huge amount of binding and got everything super hot. The hub was hot. The hex nut was hot. Everything was super hot. So I had Emerson run upstairs, get a 10 by 15 bearing. We installed that. We got it ready. We went out. That probably took 5 minutes. So we were like, 20 laps behind. Emerson drives 2 more laps, and the car flips really weird. and it's broken. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, okay. So we bring it in, and it's an inside ball stud on the right side. Inside right ball stud had broken off. So I was just going to take a new ball stud, put it in the other hole that was back there, snap it on, adjust the turnbuckle, and go back out. It's probably going to take another 10 minutes. Well, apparently there had already been a busted ball cup on that side, or ball stud on that side, so I couldn't do that. So I had to replace the whole thing. And that car is a rebadged B5 with a different chassis. And to get to that thing, you have to take apart the whole rear end of that car. 4 screws for the shock tower, 2 screws to hold that thing down, 6 more screws to get the transmission. I mean, it was a mess. And then I didn't even think we had the part. So I ran upstairs and I looked up the part, and we actually had 2 of them. So I ran back down. Well, then by that time we're 100 laps down.
Mm-hmm.
So we get it fixed. We go back out there. Emerson drives for about the last 40 minutes. He actually gets us caught back up to 3rd place because we were in 4th at that point. So Emerson did a really good job. Then Emerson had to go to work. So then it was me, Alex, and Bender, and we could never really catch back up. We couldn't really get beyond that 100 lap thing because the top 2 teams didn't really have any issues. There was a small issue for Riley's team early, like the ball diff nut backed out is all.
Mm-hmm.
And so that took them a few minutes, and then the Team Centon, I think they broke a hub at one point, and that only took a few minutes. So incredibly, your top 2 teams were tied. They were on the same lap after 8 hours. They were on the same lap.
Really?
Yes, it was amazing. I mean, it really was. In my opinion, that's an amazing feat. The Team Centon truck finally did bust a wheel off, I think, with 5 minutes to go.
Really?
Yes. And maybe it was 5 minutes to go. It was somewhere really close to the end, and that allowed the Magic Men to take the lead. They won by 5 laps.
Wow.
Yeah. So 1,000 laps in 8 hours, 38 minutes, and 22 seconds.
Nice.
And Centon got 995. My team, Talking Fish RC, got 862 laps. The Broke Ass, that's the team name. No, we're not talking about your butt. We're actually talking about a donkey when we discuss that. 787 laps. And then Big Mick Energy was Nick Nuthouse's team with a backslash.
Oh, nice.
They got 562 laps, but they had to bow out at 7 hours and 27 minutes.
What is that?
I think it was something electronic.
Oh.
So they had broken a few times, but I'm pretty sure it was something electronic that finally took them out.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty incredible. Also got to hand it to Lifetime RC, not a hitch. Like the scoring program never faltered at all during that whole 9 hours. So.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question. Ben Dinger just put a smiley face, Big Mick Energy. Am I missing something with that name? Is that from something that went like this?
I don't know what it's from, but like they just like changed the M from a D or the D to an M, you know.
Okay. Explain it. Ben Dinger's on here and they explain it. So
yeah, Ben.
Mickey Joseph. Oh, okay. Oh, I think it's a football reference. Am I getting that right?
Maybe.
God damn. Stuff like that just goes beyond me, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, so there you go. That was our weekend. A lot going on. Like I said, we had my 25-year reunion. That was fun. Talked to a lot of people I haven't talked to in person in a really long time. So, drank a little bit more beer than I had in probably a couple of years, which was nice and also expensive. And
yeah,
but yeah, kind of everything kind of went okay. I was kind of struggling mentally early on Sunday during the enduro because our car was starting to do weird, like the body kept coming off and we couldn't figure out why the body was coming off, so I was getting mad at it. but the Velcro that was holding the body on had actually come off the chassis, so I had to glue it on. So I was getting a little stressed out mentally, kind of letting my inner demon out again. But after we broke, I was just like, well, okay, I don't really have to worry about winning this thing now. We can just go out and drive for 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of took a load off, to be honest with you. Do we have a pivot break?
Sure do.
Okay, you want to do that, and then we'll get to the comments, and we'll be done.
Sure. Yeah, let's
Okay.
do it.
All right.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This is a Pivot Lending Update with David Olson and Don Zoller. Get some.
This is David Olson with Pivot Lending Group. Today we have Brian Tataviano, who is the CEO and owner of Pivot Lending Group. Brian, thanks for joining.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
For the listeners, the 5 C's of lending: credit capacity, capital, conditions, and character. So those are kind of the 5 blended. But Brian and I work with a lot of financial institutions, whether it's credit unions or community banks, that do a lot of character lending. As things change and pivot in the near future, I think there's opportunities for people that are listening that you may see something on TV or on the radio or on a podcast or something like that says, hey, we're XYZ mortgage company from all across the United States, call us, boom, boom, boom. But I think if you're in one of those situations, before you start to look at maybe programs that are coming up to help put you in a position to purchase the home, that you maybe reach out to your financial institution, if it's a community bank or a credit union, because there is a lot of character lending that still hangs with those people, goes a long way. I mean, we do a lot of originating for credit unions and community banks. We always have. And I'm hoping that the credit unions that still have the spirit of the credit union, there are some credit unions that are larger than most banks that I know. But some of the smaller credit unions that are the epitome of that spirit are there to help.
Well, credit unions never engaged in subprime lending as defined by the industry. They never did it. What they did was common sense loans. If they had been a member for 20 years and they got a divorce and their credit score went down, they would still look at a loan, a car loan, an equity loan, whatever it was, because they had the relationship. And that character piece, albeit subjective, it's a big part.
Yeah.
It's a big part of how credit unions and community banks, for that matter, how they lend. It's about the relationship. It's about working both sides of the balance sheet, which is assets and liabilities, which is the complete reverse for the financial institution. Your asset is their liability and your liability is their asset. So if you can swing, if you're comfortable with the payment, buy a house. Because long term, it doesn't matter what today does. It doesn't matter what rates are at today. You can refinance very easily from a 30-year to a 30-year. Equity prices, historically speaking, take all the noise out, trend upward. May not be 18% per year, but it will increase as far as value is concerned over a long period of time. One of the best forms of creating wealth is buy-in through the equity in your home. I don't suggest that you go out and you buy a ton of investment properties, but a primary residence is yours. It's a good way to be able to justify. And I know that's easier said than done, but to Dave's point, as the market cools on the real estate side, 3% down, 5% down mortgages will be looked at again. You won't have to go in as a cash buyer. You can go in with lower down payment. But over the grand 10, 15, 20-year period of time, owning a home is a phenomenal investment.
Let me know if I can help. Give me a call, 402-881-5951. Shoot me a text. Just make sure that you put your name on there and the best way to reach you, whether it's via text or email. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
David Olson, NMLS 16099. Don Zoller, NMLS 277589. Pivot Lending, NMLS 109995.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
I just remembered another reason why I was stressing out Sunday. So, poor Domino's Pizza. So I wanted to order pizza at like 11:30, so it would be there right around noon. And yeah, we're back. I was just going to tell everybody, like, I was stressing out a little bit Sunday because like the weird stuff that was happening with our car after I had worked on that car to make it bulletproof. A couple weeks here and there, and I drove it for like 2.5 hours one Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of racing, I just charged batteries and just drove it back to back to back to back to back. Like 2.5 hours I was working on that thing just to see if anything would happen. Nothing happened. And then this stuff all started happening. So then I phone in using my Domino's app, my order for pizza, and I get a phone call. I pay for it and everything. I get a phone call from Domino's saying that they're not going to have a delivery driver there until 2:00. And I was like, oh, I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, well, great. I will find a different way to get pizza. So Gretchen was at work, so I couldn't call her to bail me out and pick up pizza. So then I was like trying to figure out, well, who can I ask that's here? And ended up Andy Barrett bailed me out. So Andy Barrett went and got our pizza from us from Domino's. So I reordered the pizza as carryout. Actually ended up saving $12, so that was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And got everybody pizza. But I was kind of freaking out there for a minute because I was like, that poor Domino's. Like, it's Sunday. Think of like, football parties and stuff, and they don't have anybody that can deliver.
Yeah.
Oof. Did I tell you what happened to my Kickstarts?
No.
Dude. So somebody brought this up in the chat. So, okay. Remember the last time when we went to Adrenaline, and once you got to about like Ohio, there were no Kickstarts anywhere, right? So I was struggling that weekend trying to figure out, I had to drink just regular pop, which not my favorite thing in the whole wide world to do. Although a cold Coke actually is pretty good now.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a plan. So I was going to bring a cooler, and I was just going to fill it up with Kickstart and just have a cooler there. And I wanted to make sure that I always saved, no matter what, I was going to have 2 Kickstarts left for me on Sunday, main day, right? Just so I don't turn into a giant butthole by noon, right? And so I have these Kickstarts in the car. We found them at the Casey's by my house, and then we found them again at some shop in Kansas, or not Kansas, in Missouri on our way there. And we stopped at a gas station at like 11:30 outside of Evansville, Indiana, and got some chicken, and it was really good. And Alex was looking for something, so I took the cooler and I put it on top of the car while we were digging through stuff. Okay, and then we all get back in the car. Emerson's driving. Emerson merges onto the interstate, and as we're getting up to full speed, I hear thump, 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 thump. And I'm like, what was that? And then I was like, oh no, stop the car. So Emerson got his first hand experience of stopping on the interstate with hazard lights. So we pulled over, and then I had to run all the way back to the place where the cooler had fallen off of the car onto the interstate. And as I was running, I could see the glare of all the cans of Kickstart that were all on the ground. Most of them had broken open. and then as I'm running, here comes this semi, and this semi's like, and he hits the cooler, knocks the cooler off the interstate, and runs over like 3 cans of Kickstart. And I'm just like, oh, come on. It was like $16 worth of Kickstarts.
Devastation.
It was devastating. So then I was just praying that we found somewhere that had Kickstarts, because that gas station didn't have any.
Mm-hmm.
I found one gas station near the track. There was 3 gas stations close. Only one gas station had Kickstart, and I bought them out because I was like, well, I'm not going to not have these.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pretty happy that I found them again. But the cooler actually survived. Those coolers are tough, dude. You got hit by a semi, and it was fine. I just went and picked it up, looked at it, went, cooler's fine. Took it with me, used it again all weekend. So I still think I need to get these guys to sponsor the show somehow.
Yeah, I think we do too.
Yeah, I need to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
The pivot break reminded me that I did not do the whole Pivot Lending Group sponsorship thing.
I couldn't remember if you did or not.
Yeah, we didn't. We'll do it at the end.
Yeah. Wait, so is that semi? Oh wait, it's not slam into a Kickstart. It's pass me Kickstart. So like that semi slammed into a Kickstart.
Yeah. Yeah. I picked up every single bottle and every single can, and every single can was broken.
Mm-hmm.
I did take one of them. The one had a hole like right here, so I was just doing this,
Shotgunning it.
trying to shotgun it.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh well. But my plan came. I mean, I still had them. I still had kickstarts for Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always good. Let's get to the chat and then we'll get out of here. Nice, easy show tonight. We had Steve RC, John Haas on here, Rod Case Racing on here, Nick Nuthouse, Fasty, Anthony Santee, Sean Houseman was on here. We were talking about some stuff. John Hunt, or that mod 4-wheel drive, said that battle was amazing. Yeah, it was kind of what I thought would happen. Like I said, I mean, it was interesting to see who struggled on that surface. You know, I expected with the glued surface thing, I expected it to be like super ultra grippy the whole time. That's not what happened.
Oh, really?
No, it was not that way. It was grippy, and you could just mount up silver slicks. You could almost go out there with them brand new. It'd be fine. I scuffed mine a little bit on the scuffer, but it wasn't like Velcro. I'll tell you that. I'm not knocking that in any way. I'm just saying that it was not as crazy as I expected it. I was the first one to practice Thursday morning. And I walked the track, and it was definitely sticky. You could feel the glue stick to your feet. And I was the first one to practice, and at that moment, it was that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, if it stays this way, like I don't have to change a thing on my car, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't stay to that level, you know, where you could almost hear the glue stick to the tires as you were driving. It wasn't like that. It got worked in. And they did reapply it, I think every night.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Especially Thursday night. I know they did Thursday night for sure. And I think they did Friday night too. There was a couple holes too Friday night that developed from those 4-wheel drive front ends, man. They're hard on jumps. They just dig right in.
Mm-hmm.
I know they repaired some stuff. They had to do the exact same stuff that I have to do. Our INS race, I was out there Friday night and Saturday night repairing, you know, holes here and there, and basically with mud, just filling stuff with mud and working it in with my feet. They're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Actually, our dirt's pretty similar, really. I thought it was very similar. Similar in color, similar in texture. Maybe theirs is a little lighter. It kind of reminded me of more of the Masters of Dirt color of dirt down there in Myrtle Beach in a way. But grip level, I would say it's very similar. You know, I will say that sealing it every night, what that did though was it eliminated more and more of the dust.
Yeah.
Until main day. Main day, if you went a little too wide in a few spots, you were looping out. Like after the triple in front, like if you went too far towards the pipe and tried to get on it, there you would loop out because there was a lot of stuff on the track. But in the actual racing line, you know, even though they blew off the track every heat, you know, by doing the marshalling circulation thing, which that's another thing I'm probably going to steal next year. We're going to get some more blowers and some more batteries and just do it that way. I like that way of doing it. We'll probably just end up doing that. They probably didn't have to be honest with you. Nick Nuthouse says, can't believe that Green Beast lost the Enduro. Yeah, we were talking about that, the Centon truck. Made it that whole way, dude. An Arma Centon, I think they broke one thing during the race, and then with a little bit of time left to go, that's when you don't want to brake at all. And that's
right.
And that's when it happened, so you couldn't really come back from that. Steve RC, did you say back to 6 rounds of Summer Series in 2023? Only if our INS race moves. So if our INS race is once again in the summertime, we'll still have 5 rounds because I don't want to overload anybody. If you're from out of town, you know, I would love to have you race at the Plex every week, but I've always tried to make it to where we make sure that we have that once a month thing, the summer series, and make that somebody, you know, can look forward to if they're from out of town. If you want to race more, great. If you don't, that's okay. You know, that's what building a local crowd can do. We can still have club racing. John Haas says he should have gone and run Mini Truggy. Yeah. Mini Truggy Mafia Unite. I need to get another one. We have one on the shelf at the store. I need to pay off a couple things first, and then I'll definitely have one by the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really worried about it for the winter series. I don't even think I'm going to race in the winter series at all.
Yeah.
But I do miss racing Mini Truggy, and Techno's got the best one. So.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Anderson was on here. He said Alex took the boys on a field trip to race. Kind of. I kind of wanted to be team leader in a way, but the way that they had us pitted, it really didn't end up being that way.
Yeah.
They had to pit Emerson, me, and TJ with Andy Barrett kind of in our own spot so that Andy could be there. They gave him lots of space for his chair.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody else was in a whole nother room. So we were kind of separated a little bit, which I told him, I'm like, you guys do what you got to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, kind of. Peter Renault, he's late, just got home from Canadian Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
I wonder if they have like protests and stuff for Canadian Thanksgiving the way that they do for our Thanksgiving down here.
I don't know.
Is it the same kind of Thanksgiving?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was growing up, especially in like elementary school, you know, they made it seem like the Native Americans and the white people got together excellent for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, they kind of did, but it didn't last very long. And there was a lot leading up to that, so I don't know. I don't want to get into that. Especially on Indigenous Peoples Day. Did you know that it was Indigenous Peoples Day today?
I did.
Yeah. You know what? God. So they had there was something else going on at the Lauritzen Gardens with Japanese Culture Day or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it on the news. And dude, I kid you not. So it's some sort of Japanese culture thing happening at the Lauritzen Gardens. And the one person that Channel 6 decides to interview is a skinny, scruffy white guy.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, well. I don't make those decisions, right?
Me neither.
Yeah. Fasty says he wished he had 3 classes. He sat around way too long on main day, and being one of the last mains really showed when came race time. It's tough. That's right. Because David was in the Truggy main, and that was one of the first day mains to run, but you had to wait all day. All day.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what's cool about being in AAA mains. I was pretty happy I made the bump, because then I got to run my 4-wheel drive again before I ran my 40 plus main. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of hoping that all the jitters I had would be gone by then, by the time the 40 plus main came. And in fact, I finished 6th in that first 4-wheel drive main.
Yeah. I watched that one.
It still didn't help me
Mm-hmm.
not get 10th, but at least I had a good start to the day, you know?
Mm-hmm.
RCU next Tuesday says hello, everyone. A couple thumbs up. The mod broadcast said Tom was DQ'd from his A1 because he didn't do tech. You are correct. Tom would have won stock buggy if he would have just gone to tech. He won A1 and they disqualified him, and then he won A2. So, yeah.
Devastating.
Dude, Tom did a couple things like that. So Tom did great. I love Tom Rindernecht, but he was on a TQ pace in the second qualifier of mod 2-wheel, and he had an extra lap to go. So they did the qualifying way different. They did it like a nitro race where you just had 2 minutes. When those 2 minutes are up, dong, tone is on. You go on your own. I didn't think I was going to like it, but in my case for 40 plus and for 13.5 wheeler, I was actually super okay with it because for some reason in my qualifiers, everybody went at the tone together instead of spacing themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, I'll let you guys all go, and I'm going to be over here, and I'm going to wait until you come around that second, till that first person comes around that second 180. I had tons of space in all of my qualifiers. So I actually liked it a lot.
Yeah.
But it did make for some weird finishes because while everybody was done, they were allowing, I'm pretty sure they were allowing the computer for most of the time to say who was done. And the one thing that I will say about the facility in general is the sound isn't that great. So it's either the person calling it was really garbled and you couldn't quite understand them a majority of the time, or it's just the way that the sound system carries in that place. But it was kind of hard to hear. So there were a couple times there where I told Emerson to just do one more lap because I wasn't sure if he was done yet or not, even though the computer screen was there, but I wasn't looking at it. Anyways, Tom stopped instead of going around. So he had Dakota covered and he stopped. And then everybody was yelling at him to keep going. So then he ended up going. So he lost that second round TQ because of that. So, because he thought he had his name called. Or he wasn't paying attention. There was a couple of people like that who thought they had their name called. Talon Henley in truck. In the first qualifier, he had Emerson covered for second. But he also stopped. And I went back and I watched the replay. And dude, you know what happened? When he came around the line and he was in the triple, the announcer said Talon. But he didn't say Talon, you're done. He just said Talon. And then he stopped because I think he was going to say something about the pace or whatever. So Talon heard that and he stopped.
Oh, that's too bad.
So if you go back and watch the replay, I understand Talon's thing because the dude did say Talon. That's why I came up with the Cody King rule. Remember that? In nitro racing especially, I don't call anybody done until everybody's done. Specifically for that reason, because I could be announcing and I could say somebody's name and they could think that they're done. So I don't ever do that anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I don't blame you.
Yeah. So there was that. Let's see. And Fasty's like, yep, we all quote unquote know who won that AAA main. John Haas was screaming at the Marshall too. That was the Marshall that put Brian's car in front of mine. Jackson Anderson says there's a points race at Indy this weekend. Make sure you get all your laps counted. David Fast says that he wishes that you were there as well.
Yeah, me too.
We did see that Hobby Action is hosting the IFMAR Worlds, so I'm pretty excited to go there. I've always wanted to go there, so now I'm maybe I'll get to go there twice this year, and then I want to go there for the Worlds just to watch and be like a reporter, get my press pass.
I think that'd be really cool, though. Like, I don't think anybody's going to do that or anything like that, and if that's all you're going to be there for, like, you have a finished video of interviews and stuff.
Right. I think I think Red RC, I'm sure will be there. I'm sure J Concepts will be there.
You know what I mean. Like, I think it'll be a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, I think it'll help with our
I'm bringing
people watching.
I'm bringing the camera. I'm bringing my phone. I'm bringing my gyro. Everything.
When is it?
Well, it'll probably be, they haven't announced it yet, so it'll probably be in September.
Okay.
So I'm gonna save.
Maybe I should try and go.
Yeah, I'm gonna save one of my vacation weeks just to go.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Is there any carpet racing on Halloween weekend? There is. That Saturday. Halloween's not really a holiday that we close up shop for. So.
Yeah.
Ben Dinger said, saw a trash panda get eaten by a bear. I'll pass on that. I'd rather get nuked.
Yeah, nuking sounds
Getting
good.
nuked would be a way to go because it's so quick and easy and you're evaporated. I'm sure that wouldn't hurt that bad. I don't think it's like Terminator 2 where you're just sitting there screaming the whole time that you're getting, eviscerated.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot quicker than that. Anthony Santi says stock slash is too much fun. Steve RC is like, that's 2 weeks in a row that Alex TQ'd both rounds at the Plex, but didn't do well in the main. Last week Alex got first in the main. We just gotta get that main. You know, you gotta get through the first couple laps.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. He got 11 on a second qualifier in 17.5, so that's really good. The Truggy main was Logan, Dane, John, and Steve. Steve Wall had his there too, so there's 4 of them. So that was awesome. Emerson was talking to someone Friday night, and he said, I need to fix my dad's truck. How many times does that happen? He fixes your stuff. Yeah, he was talking about my slash because he and I both broke our slashes. So I wanted him to fix my slash before he left because I was busy running races, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have time to fix it.
Right.
But not that often, but I can rely on him now to do it. He just has to actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
Going back down here. Nick Nuthouse says he watched me a few times in the pits. He waited for an explosion, but I held it in.
Yeah.
I was pretty stressed. You could see it on my face. I was working on it.
Yep.
Mark Schmidt says congrats to everybody for the J Concepts results. Steve RC said he saw someone comment about Yokomo ball cups. You and I had talked about that. I might strategically place them in a few spots and leave AE on the other ones.
Yeah.
So, Anthony Santi, if it went back to 6, would it be best 5 out of 6? Yes, 5 out of 6. We only allow one drop. Gotta be there.
You gotta commit.
Yep. Peter Renault says our Thanksgiving is so mild. We get 1 day off, but no football. I mean, usually the Detroit Lions and the Cowboys play, so we don't really get much football either.
Yeah.
Get someone to pay you to video. Yeah, I'll see. Mod cars run away from me every straight this year. It gets old quick, so Peter's getting a 6.5 for his B74.
Ooh, there you go.
Yep. Last one. Did you see Riley take the tumble in the pits? Yeah. So Riley found the one spot in our pit area that's so you know how our pit area is dirt, right? And I got carpet covering it. Well, it started to sort of separate in a few spots, and he found the one hole that is there, and I think he tumbled and sprained his ankle or something. So I feel really bad.
Yeah.
He's actually one of 3 people that tumbled on Sunday. Chris Haida.
No, really?
Yeah, Chris Haida took a tumble off the freaking stairs because they were running. They were trying to fix that senton with 5 minutes left to go, and he was running back to get something. And
and after you stand there, your feet are asleep. You know?
Oh my God! And he tripped. He tripped going down the stairs to the hot pit and fell down. I felt so bad for him. And then the other dude, I think it was Nick's brother, took a tumble while marshalling, and I feel really bad for him too. I'm really sorry that you guys fell.
Yeah. That's too bad.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that's it. CW Berwick, I'm excited to run 17.5 for the first time. That's awesome. And then tomorrow the track's up with covering. So if you want to practice some 10 scale before the mini racing, we're all for it. So
cool.
Okay, I think that's it. That's all I'm going to get to. All
right, cool.
Appreciate being on here, even though you had nothing to do with the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll get back up there. I want to race more.
Next week, no, we're not having a podcast because it's Emerson's birthday. He is turning 16.
Ooh.
And it's on a Monday, so there will be no podcast. We're going to be out celebrating his birthday. I'll figure out where. I kind of want to take him to Hooters, but I don't want to get our credit card stolen. So
yeah,
I don't know what to do there. So be aware of that. All of you guys that are watching right now, no podcast next week due to Emerson's birthday. But we'll be back for the next one in 2 weeks. So until then,
sounds good.
Yeah, until then, I am going to do after hours on Wednesday.
Nice.
I'm off at 5. I'll try to get going by like 7 or 8. I got a whole bunch of stuff I need to work on. So, All right.
Cool.
Make sure. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I need to get going. So
Okay. Yep.
I need to go over my grandma's. So.
All right. All right. Make sure that you know that this show is brought to you by Pivot Lending Group. Find them at pivotlending.com. Mention Don Zoller or Aiden Olson's dad about our show. Get a $500 lender credit or 0.125 off your interest rate. I forgot to do that at the start of the show, so I got to do it now. All right.
There you go. All right. See you guys. Thanks for watching.